I'm still in complete shock of how a known criminal has been elected into the White House.
Massachusetts visiting here, and I voted for Donald Trump, and I'm happy.
And what were your reasons for voting for Donald Trump?
The economy and the southern border.
My thoughts is from the standpoint of Ukrainian. Honestly, super scared for my country right now because my country is really depend on U.S. support. Trump, like he said, is really unpredictable figure that can do anything basically to achieve fast solutions, and to achieve it he can shake hands with dictators, and it just makes me super anxious and scared.
We tried to warn you, Trump voters, but no, you just had to believe all the lies because you did your own research. Well, let me read a little bit of an article here right now to just give you a flavor of what's to come and how big a mistake you people made in screwing us all. Mexico's government on Monday signaled that it planned to hit back with trade restrictions of its own if President-elect Donald Trump followed through on his threats to impose sky-high tariffs on Mexican exports to the United States. Quote, "If you put 25% tariffs on me, I have to react with tariffs," said this was Mexico's economy minister. So, and I know some of you are thinking, well, so what, man? Who cares about Mexico? Well, Mexico is one of our biggest trading partners, if not our biggest trading partner. We get a hell of a lot of products from Mexico, including a lot of agricultural products. A lot of the fruits and vegetables that you buy at the store come from Mexico. So if Donald Trump slaps a tariff on all Mexican goods, that means the price of all of those things that you buy from Mexico, and I promise you, you buy a lot from Mexico, all of those things are going to be more expensive. And Mexico is going to reciprocate and put tariffs on American exports. And that is going to hurt American producers and cost Americans jobs. And they're going to see decreases in their wages. This is what happens when you impose tariffs. Now, I know you guys didn't understand a damn thing about tariffs because you don't understand anything on your own and you just believe everything that comes out of Donald Trump's pie hole. But here we are. And if Donald Trump actually follows through on these tariffs, as he promised repeatedly on the campaign trail that he was going to do, and you guys all voted for him, yay, Trump, we love tariffs, he's going to crash our economy. You know, the economy that you actually think sucks right now, well, the economy is actually really good right now. It's the strongest economy in the world. And you're going to see how good it is once Donald Trump destroys it. You're going to wish you had this economy back. So, anyways.
Canada has always been very deeply connected in the States, especially Ontario, and like the way our politicians kind of direct themselves. Hopefully we cut ties with them eventually if this gets really bad.
Ask a Latino how they say marshmallows in Spanish.
I asked my bestie, how do you say marshmallows in Spanish? And he said, bonbons, that's the Mexican way. Good luck with the other tribes.
What does that make? We just want to come here and work. Then come here legally. What's the issue? The only reason you couldn't get here legally is if you are like a felon.
Oh my God, cada vez es una persona que no tiene la experiencia requerida a hablar about immigration. So I'm gonna do this quickly because I have work to do. Let's get into it. Talked in your video about the only way that you can't get to the United States legally is if you're a felon or something. And that's wildly untrue. In fact, there are so many reasons that you cannot get to the US legally. It's actually easier to talk about some of the ways that you can get to the US legally. When you're talking about getting here legally, I'm hoping you're not talking about coming here on a visitor's visa from somewhere else, because when you do that, you're not supposed to be here working, you're supposed to be here visiting. So let's not even talk about that, and let's get down to brass tacks, and let's talk about becoming a citizen. Really two ways: by birth, by naturalization. I want to talk about by naturalization, which is more pertinent to your point, because you're probably talking about people who are born in another country and are trying to get to the US and lay down roots and start a new life. So look at these limited ways. These are the most common ways, not the only ways, but these are the majority of ways that you can become a US citizen if you're not born here. You're the child of a US citizen, you're married to a US citizen, you're in the US military, you're a lawful permanent resident. How do you become a lawful permanent resident? Usually through one of the 1, 2, and 3. So it harkens back to you being somehow connected to United States citizen. Por la más parte, right, in general, if you don't have some type of link to a United States citizen, I'm not talking about refugee status, all those other ways, I'm talking about these majority of ways. If you don't have a link to a US citizen, you're, for the most part, not getting your citizenship. It has nothing to do with whether you're a felon, whether you have a horrible criminal history, whether you have zero criminal history. You can't just come to the U.S. wait in line, say, hey, I want to just come to the U.S. and I want to get my citizenship without another connection, without a way to get your citizenship. Not only that, but say for some reason you do have some sort of connection, like your sister, brother, somebody is a United States citizen and they file for you, you could be waiting 20 years in your country before you finally get to the United States and become a citizen. I'm bringing that point up because I think a lot of people don't know just how difficult it is to become a United States citizen. It's not like you can just cross the border on a visitor's visa and, I've been here for 20 years and I get my citizenship. No. It's a lot harder than that. When you say the
Latino friends, do you still speak Spanish? My nieces and nephew answered in the negative. No. They may have claimed Hispanicity at once upon a time in school applications, for instance, when they were living at home with a strongly affiliated Latino parent, but not as adults, not in their own homes. They feel that doing so would be presumptuous, bordering on a lie. It would be appropriating an identity they no longer feel is theirs. My daughter is married to an Irish Slavic American, agrees. My son, married to a Mexican American who has never spoken Spanish, is from a family that has lived in Texas for generations, says the same. This, it suddenly strikes me, is an uncounted, undocumented population of a different kind. So this is by Marie Arana. It's called Latino Land, a portrait of America's largest and least understood minority. When I first read the statistic about the intermarriages, it shook me to my core. And so when I saw the little video, which is a cute little, funny little video, I had to stitch it because I just find it's so interesting what the statistics say about our communities. And I think as we're starting Latinx Heritage Month or Latino Heritage Month, Hispanic Heritage Month, whatever you want to call it, I want to share more data from this book and more interesting points of discussion. But I wanted to start it with that because the intermarriages sort of leads to the question of what is Latinidad? What are we teaching our children? What are we teaching the next generation? Is Latinidad real? Is it fleeting? Can we save it? Is it a matter of just teaching our cultures and ensuring that those things survive, or will you ultimately just become the grandparent who was from X country, whatever country you're from eventually in your family lineage? So really good book. I'm going to share more points throughout the month, and if you have questions, let me know. But yeah, really interesting. And, before people get upset, I'm part of that statistical cohort, of who I married. So just lots to think about.
Latinos for Trump, it is time to embrace the consequences of your actions. I've always been a firm believer of fighting fire with fire. If somebody goes low, I'll go lower. Now, with that being said, I know for a fact that most Latinos for Trump have undocumented family members, whether that be their parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, etc.
All right, Latinos for Trump, you guys have acquired the mandate of heaven. Now enjoy the liberal tears for a couple days or a couple weeks, but you guys are going to have to focus on the things that you guys have voted for, right? The economy and economic justice. Now, economic justice is an ideal form of the left, but clearly they have failed us when it comes to DEI programs and their approach to economic justice, and we're going to favor meritocracy and things of that sort. So live up to the standard and walk the walk. Support Latino businesses, create businesses yourself. Show up to engineering programs, represent in the industries where we're underrepresented. Don't just stay in a narrow lane where you believe you should stay. In my experience, historically, I've struggled with the left because we do have these idealisms that we often intellectualize but don't act on, so we'd rather just complain about cosmic justice and that thing rather than doing the work that we should have been doing the entire time, which is showing up to these industries where we aren't represented, acquiring more equity, improving diversity, and supporting businesses. I don't hate y'all, we have a difference of opinion. That's all it really is. And I hope that you guys do better. I hope that you guys make them work for us more too.
Exit polling data tells the story of what happened during this election. Look at this. This is coming from NBC News. I want you to look down there at Latino men. 54% for Donald Trump. Now, this is following that rally in Madison Square Garden. But also, look at black men. 78% went for Kamala Harris, but 20% for Donald Trump. Usually Republicans score in the single digits. And finally, of course, white women, 52% for Donald Trump, and then you have 47% for Kamala Harris. Now, Donald Trump, according to Pew, received 53% of the vote from white women in 2020. So basically, he didn't lose hardly any white women, despite the Dobbs decision overturning Roe.
This Since Donald Trump won the election in the United States, people have been talking about moving to Canada. Don't, because do you know that in 1 year we're going to be electing our own Trump, or possibly sooner if we can kick this tyrant out of power. And despite having more land per person than anywhere else in the world, Canada is actually full. We don't need more migrants, we don't need anything like that, we just want to stay Canada, leave us alone. And actually, this is the one time that you'll see me agree with Quebec. So Quebec is calling for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to strengthen our southern border amid the election results in the United States. They note that there will probably be a massive influx of people who went to the United States illegally, coming illegally again into Canada after Donald Trump takes office, since he will be carrying out mass deportations. And if you don't remember, in 2016, when Donald Trump first took office, Justin Trudeau took to Twitter. He said that we would welcome any migrants with open arms, and we shouldn't make that same mistake again.
Most of the Latinos,
like seriously guys, it is what it is. I just felt for those immigrants, this is not what we're expecting, okay guys, but we just have to keep our finger crossed and hopefully everything will be okay again. So my advice is just that you have to keep your hands clean, do what you know that is right for you, just take the life the way you sees it and do your best. Try to keep your hands clean, and yeah, life goes on. You don't know, tomorrow probably things will get better again. So thank you guys for watching. I love you guys.